Good day, my dear students. How are you today? Okay, very good. So, everybody are ready for our topic discussions? Okay, very good. But before that, we will have a silent prayer first. Then, for your attendance checking, I need any like zone or a heart reactions. Okay, so now welcome to our new topic discussions. So, class, are you ready? Okay, very good. So, but before we start, let's have our lesson title first. So, everybody, kindly read Constructing the Research Paradigm and Selecting Relevant Theoretical Background. Okay, then we have our learning outcomes here. At the end of the lesson, student must be able to first, everyone kindly read, construct the research paradigm of own study, and second, select the theoretical framework of the study. Okay, now, in your own idea or in your own understanding, what is paradigm? Okay, anyone? Okay, paradigm. Paradigm, it is a set of common belief and agreements, shared worldviews that represent belief and values in a discipline and that guides how problems are solved. Okay, according to 2001. So, it is a common belief and agreements that shared worldviews that represent belief and values in a discipline, and that is called as a paradigm. Okay. So, there are two different types of framework. So, first, the conceptual framework, and second is the theoretical framework. And now, what makes them different? So, let's discover what are their difference. So, let's talk first about conceptual framework. Conceptual framework, from the word concept, it is written or visually a representation of an expected relationship between variables, or it is also known as a research paradigm. So, the following are steps to make a conceptual framework. Okay, first, identifying important variables of study. We need to identify what are the important variables to study. So we should gather more and we must gather information for us to identify what are the important variables needed. Second, think how the variables are related. So before we go through the to create a visual paradigm or anything, we should have to think it first how the variables are related from our variables we study. Okay. So third, create a visual paragram. Create a visual diagram of a model. So we should have to create any diagram that can relate it or connect into the variables we are going to study. So fourth is explain your conceptual framework in a narrative form. So after doing this everything, we should have to explain the concepts of the framework we did. So, what is theoretical framework? According to here, it is the structure that support a theory of a research study. From the word theoretical, it is we come up to any ideas from any theories. So there is a supporting document, supporting concepts from any theories. So there are also steps to make theoretical framework. And those are first, examine your thesis and research problem. We should have to examine all the research problem before doing. So second, brainstorming your key variables in your research. We should have to brainstorm everything, every research we have made for us to create a theoretical framework. So third, review related literature to find answer in your research. We should have to our RLL, that was the review-related literature. So fourth is list the construct and variables that might be relevant to your study. We should have to list all the construct and variables that we have made for us to make a theoretical framework. So, theoretical framework. It dwells on time tested theories that embody the findings of numerous investigations on how a phenomena occur. So, it is dwells on time but tested and theories. It embodies finding of numerous investigation on how phenomena occur. So, investigations are related to this study. So, it provides a general representations of relationship between things in a given phenomenon. While conceptual framework, when we say conceptual framework, it is the researcher's idea on how the research problem will have to be explored. So, unlike the theoretical framework, it bases on the theory. Some are theories we gather or we have the supporting investigation. We gather some or we gather some research through theories that can support our study. So, in conceptual also, it is the outline that input, process, and output of the whole investigation. We are the one who made the investigation process by our own research, and it is also known as a research paradigm. Okay, understand? Okay, very good. So now let's talk about research paradigm. So who can identify what is research paradigm? Okay, research paradigm, it is a dramatic illustration of the relationship of variables involved in your study. So again, conceptual framework, also known as a research paradigm. So there are two variables in research study. So what are those variables? So we have a dependent variables and independent variables. So class, when we say dependent variables, it measured or tested in an experiment. Meaning to say it can't stand alone. So this dependent, from the word dependent variables, it can't stand alone. Need any support or any supporting in order to stand, or it is measured or tested in an experiment. So some experiment, some are we gathered information through experiment that was need any supportive documents, supportive ideas, or it needs a supporting variables. So second is the independent variables. Is from the word independent. It is stand alone and isn't changed by the other variables you are trying to measure. So here are some examples of independent variables. So when we say independent variables, it can stand alone. So a person's age. Why is it? It is example of independent variables. It is independent variable because bisan pa og unsa na food imong gikaon, vitamins ting imong gitake, or any food na or any lifestyle do you have, it aren't change a person age, di ba? So when you say person age, dili gina siya bisan unsaon mo, dili gina siya mausab or kana magpabilin gina siya nga iyahang edad, di ba? Okay. So, for dependent variables, looking at how exam scores impact for the performance of a student. This is how when students study well, she or he will get a high scores. But if dili siya magforsigi, of course, syempre low scores ang iyang makuha or either mag-fail jud siya, right? So in this case naka-base jud siya to the theoretical variables, no. Kaya ano mo gani siya, nakadepende siya kung mag-study ang student, so meaning to say taas iyang score. So do ay naay connections between na nagdepende siya. So tataw kay or kanang it is clear nga it is dependent kid siya kay nga no, it can dili siya pwede kung wala ang isa, right? Okay, so now remember this, from the word independent, it means it can stand alone. Dili siya magsalig kung sa baga if love pud ganiya mag-effort jud sad ka na ma-happy pud ang inyong duha ka relationship, di ba? Char, just an example. Also, when we talk about dependent, can't stand alone, so magsalig gid siya nga dili niya kaya kung wala ka, right? Okay, ana na siya ang dependent and independent variables. So for the qualitative research study, develop conceptual framework by basing your research problem, objectives, and questions. So each goal is to illustrate research approach in some pictorials and text forms for us to help readers to understand the research studies where variables are linked through putting arrows. This is how to identify qualitative and quantitative in either theoretical and conceptual framework in research paradigm. So now, I want you to be sure if you understand what we have discussed on. So I want you to give at least we have an activity. I want you to individually give an example, 5 each example of dependent and independent variables in your own idea. So I want you to get 1/2 quiz-wise, then submit it later. Okay? Then also kindly check check for understanding. Okay? Decide whether each set of words make up a conceptual or theoretical framework. So it is given there already in the in your SES, and the check for understanding portion. I want you to answer it as serve for your assessment. So kindly identify either it is a conceptual or a theoretical framework. So I need you to answer that. Then after that, send it here in our GC, and I will check it on later. So I hope you understand about our discussion, and any questions or clarification, just send through our GCs or comment it down, then I will feedback you later. I will answer every what is this clarification you want. Okay, so no questions? Okay, class, thank you for your participation, and that's all for today, and see you to our next discussion. Thank you and God bless.